Welcome to Cosplayers Paradigm, a podcast about everything cosplay related, from the conventions that you love to the people that you love even more. And now, let's get on to the show.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cosplayers Paradigm. Today, I am joined by two lovely ladies who have been in the cosplay community as well as in the convention community for quite some time. To my right, we have Ashley, and below, we have Jessica.
Hello.
Say hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Glad both of you, able to join. I've heard a little bit from both of you, and I have to say that a lot of the things I've heard so far are quite intriguing, so I am really looking forward to this.
Me too.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. So let's go ahead and start off with a little bit about yourself and what got you into cosplaying. Let's go ahead and start with Ashley.
Ooh, what got me into cosplaying? That is a funny story, actually. What got me into cosplaying is partially my friends. My friend group here in Virginia are part of the Rocky Horror Picture Show Shadowcast. I myself was never part of the Shadowcast, but most of my friends were. So they're what got me into cosplay.
I like that. Well, what better way to go ahead and get into cosplay with something as iconic as that, you know? That's good.
So,
I like that.
That is the hilarious part. And the funniest part of that is last year, my husband and I went to New York City, and I was shopping at this huge goth store, and I ended up getting a really nice dress. And even the staff was like, "You don't seem uncomfortable at all." And I was like, "Oh no, my friends are Rocky Horror Shadowcast. I've been to so many Rocky Horror parties, honey. I have stories that I can't tell you."
Oh, those are the best ones. All right. And what got you into the cosplay community, Jessica?
Well, I started off learning about history in my town, and that got me into steampunk because in Waltham, which is my city, we have the Watch City Steampunk Convention, and it's on the Saturday before Mother's Day every year, and it is a blast. It's an outdoor event, and everybody not everybody, but people feel welcome to dress up in any matter of cosplay that they like, but particularly steampunk. And so as I got more into writing steampunk, I became I loved the fashion of steampunk, not just the history and the literature and the science fiction behind everything, but the fashion. So as you can see, I'm wearing today a corset and it's a zip up. So it's not really historically accurate, but it's comfortable and it's very steampunk. And for my drawers today, I am wearing these like kind of piratey pants, but they can be worn underneath skirts, underneath dresses. I have all kinds of outfits to show you here as the time goes on if you're interested. But that's what got me into cosplay steampunk, was the people and the creativity and being part of a community.
I definitely like that. You were actually the first guest we have had that's even talked about steampunk like this at all. So I was really intrigued about that.
Well, a lot of people don't know what steampunk is. It's like post-futuristic Victorian era, mostly. I am currently writing a steampunk from the colonial American point of view, which is very different. But basically, it's if the timeline had shifted somehow, and we went a different way with technology. What would our world be like? What would it look like? Would we have airships? Would we have all these inventions, mechanical inventions that do not exist today? Would we have gone a different way with our power? As far as steam power is a very big deal. So think of like Jules Verne or or people like H.G. Wells who thought about the future in maybe a dystopian way. But I love steampunk because you can change the future to make it a brighter place.
Okay. I like that. That's deep.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. Now, you both have gone to different conventions, I hear, of course, different styles too, from regular cosplay to paranormal, you said?
Yes, I've been to paranormal conventions and and they are a lot of fun because people do cosplay and they might dress up as their favorite. I've been to like horror events in Salem, Mass, where people cosplay their favorite monsters or their favorite characters from horror movies, and I've even seen steampunk Ghostbusters. Like people go out of their way to come up with this creativity in steampunk to change things in our modern world and make it more fun.
Gave me a really nice idea with that.
Ooh,
I'm gonna
I
have to-
love
I'm gonna
having
have to,
ideas.
I'm going to have to definitely collaborate on that one a little bit later on. But
There's
okay,
even Star Trek steampunks. There's everything.
I think the one I got in my mind right now might go a little bit out there, but we'll see. Now, have you actually gone to some of those conventions as well, Ashley?
Yes, in fact, that was where Jesse and I met. Was a steampunk convention years ago in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, I ended up winning a free ticket, and at the time, I had just released my first solo book, my first solo anthology with my very first publisher. And that's where I met Jesse. Jesse actually gave me a lot of pointers as a new writer, and we stayed in contact ever since. She's become one of my best friends.
Now we're great friends.
So there's a nice little surprise right there. I did not realize we had two authors on the show.
Yes, and speaking of which, I also have a book coming out, which is my first fantasy book ever, coming out in April.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's going to be released by Alien Buddha April 4th. It's called If the King Falls. It is a dark fantasy, so those of you who are fans of Labyrinth may like this book.
Okay, I like that. All right, so you said April. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. I am definitely going to have to get in touch with you on that one too, find out the distributor, because I am now very intrigued.
Yes.
Wow.
It's the main character is not so loosely based off David Bowie.
Not so loosely, doesn't matter. It's Bowie.
Exactly.
So you were also at the GalaxyCon with me. You were primarily at the booth handling most of the literature, you said, right?
Yes.
But you just end up seeing a lot of different cosplays passing by, and everything.
Oh, yes.
What was some of the standout cosplays that you saw there?
One of my favorite was this woman. She ended up being highlighted by GalaxyCon, actually. It was her very first convention ever. She was in her 80s, and she actually did a wonderful cosplay with her grandson of Edna Mode from The Incredibles. It was fantastic. It was one of the best cosplays I've ever seen.
I wish I could have seen that.
That was like the top one. She just happened to stop at our booth, and she was looking at what the pop-up bookshop had to offer. She was fantastic, and she just stuck out in my mind. I think she was like the second day there, like day 2 of GalaxyCon. I'll never forget her.
Sounds like it. I mean, sometimes people don't realize the simplistic ones are some of the best ones out there. You don't need to be completely elaborate. You can be a wig, shirt, glasses, and people know who you are. And that presence, if you give that just to add more, you feel embodied. Like, oh my gosh, you're right there from the show, the movie, or wherever it is,
Yeah,
And I love that.
She definitely embodied the character. She was just wonderful. I mean, everybody who saw her was just like, oh my God, that's perfect. I mean, she even had the little Jack plushie. It was just fantastic.
See, it's things like that. Just, props. The small little things. Doesn't matter what it is, just adds to it, and that fanfare and your imagination. Love it. Now I feel jealous that I didn't get a chance to see it.
Well, I agree about the little touches because in cosplay, like we were saying, it can be as small as you have, as much as you feel comfortable. And you can build up on your costume through the years or change it. And little things like a fascinator or other hats that can be matching with your theme, or even just something as simple as a fan can add a lot to a costume.
This is very true.
Yeah, I mean, there were wonderful cosplays. I mean, there were definitely a lot of Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel cosplays. There were so many that were just fantastic throughout the whole weekend.
I was at Aresia this weekend, which is a science fiction convention in Boston, and I saw the best Harley Quinn, and she had a hammer, her mallet, and she could unscrew it and put all her little things in there that she needs, like her wallet and her lipstick, whatever. And then she screwed it back up, and it was from an old, empty, used canister for protein powder. And she created this.
That's brilliant.
From it.
Cool. That's really cool.
It was so cool. And that's what I like in cosplay is the innovation that people use to create something. It's really inventive, and I find that attractive.
Wholeheartedly. Had a guest on a while back during the first season, and young girl went to her first con in full cosplay. Her dad supported her, got her stuff. If you're familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog, she went ahead and played Amy. That's who she cosplayed as.
That is awesome.
But she did the giant hammer. And the first time I met her while I was at the con, she nearly hit me with the hammer by accident because she just turned around because it's over her shoulder. Joking around, got her picture, but then finding out that she actually saw the cosplay podcast and was like, hey, can I be on it? And I was like, yes, absolutely. But her first time, she did the whole thing, and her dad supported every bit of it. She went out, what do you want? No, let me go ahead and buy this dress. Let's try this one. Here's all the material you need. And just, it was really cool to hear, Not too many people where the family is willing to go ahead and, support you that much. I mean, they might go, hey, that's cool. Well, if you need help, I guess I could go ahead and loan you this. But he was all about it, And just hearing that was, this is what we're talking about, inclusivity, You may not be blood. Maybe you are. You're friends. Or you're total strangers going to the same con, like you two right here who met. And now, closer to family than some family.
Absolutely. Like, I consider my steampunk cosplay people my family. Like, they are so welcoming and so friendly, and they don't judge you on your cosplay. If you have just a little set of goggles on your head, that's very steampunk. And if that's all you do, or if you just want to wear a vest or a t-shirt that says something steampunk on it, there's no judgment. But we always try to help each other out. For instance, one of my great friends, Douglas, gave me this sash, and it reminds me of the sashes for women's rights to vote back in the day. And so I wear it with my cosplay sometimes, especially when I speak at Waltham Pride Fest. But it's very welcoming community, I believe.
Sounds like it. Definitely, which is awesome. The other thing I was going to mention is one of the cons I went to this past year. If you're familiar with anime, One Piece has a character that's later in the series called Big Mom.
I've heard of it. I personally have never gotten into One Piece.
Okay.
Mostly, I do know of it. I've just never caught my interest, only because it was a little too chaotic for me when I was growing up. I have to admit, I'm much more of an Inuyasha fan. So that's all my attention.
Inuyasha is a very popular anime on this series. I mean, a lot of people that we've had on the show, when we've talked about anime, instantly go straight to Inuyasha, and I have no problem with that.
Inuyasha is my heart.
I mean, who could not say no to a show with a dog demon who loves a woman from another world, who can control him by saying "sit," but also having the magical powers, literally, to go ahead and protect her, save others, and have that growth between everyone, you know?
And I have issues with the sequel. I will admit that I have issues with Yashahime, but the best part of the sequel is when Inuyasha meets his daughter, and the very first thing he does is just hold her in his arms, lifts her into the air, and hugs her. And it's like, yes, give the fans what they want. Prove that Inuyasha is the perfect dad.
Okay, now you're telling me I have to watch it now because I have not watched the continuation yet. But no, back to that cosplay that I saw for Big Mom.
Mm-hmm.
She had a giant hat on, and the pirate hat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no problem. Took a picture of her, and she grabs her stuff, wallet and everything, pulls the hat down, puts it on top, and it's complete compartmentalized with all her stuff that she's got from the con.
No,
that's cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
Who would have thought? Her hat is literally her purse.
Because it's so hard to fit things you need in the modern world into your cosplay. For instance, I go to a lot of Renaissance fairs and they don't want to see cell phones. So as a vendor, you have to really hide your modern things in certain cosplay situations. Now in Steampunk, you can kind of get away with it by making it like kind of steampunked, at least, but in some cosplays, like where do you put your stuff that you need? Where do you put your tickets? Where do you, put your everyday things that you need? It can be very difficult.
Well, I have a secret weapon for that.
Ooh.
I do have
Ooh,
a code. I do have a leather jacket that has like inner pockets. So for some conventions, I've used the inner pockets to put stuff that I've bought or like to put my wallet in, and nobody notices because it does have outer pockets, but it also has inside pockets as well.
I love pockets.
Okay. Now, for going to a Renaissance fair and they don't like to see cell phones and other things like that, what if you went ahead and disguised them?
That's what I would love to do, but I don't have the capacity and talent to do that, but that would be a good idea. I have a friend who makes a lot of my corsets called Corset Pattern Maker, and maybe with their fabric, they could do something special for me for Renaissance. That's a good idea.
Another good idea. My husband, when we went to Dragon Con, he bought me, because I really needed a new purse at the time, although he didn't know that I bought myself a purse for like $30 also at Dragon Con. He actually bought me a woman's side bag. It's not really a purse. It's actually a side bag that you put onto a belt. So you can also hide anything into an actual professional side bag that you can just wear onto the belt. And that is not only period correct for steampunk, it's also period correct for the Renaissance era.
Yes, I think I should get me one of those. That would help. Thank you.
See, the other thing I was thinking is Bluetooth headsets. Some of them, if you get one online or if you find a place that has it, the simpler ones, you could probably undo it, remodify, just splice a wire to the earpiece. So that way you can hear a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a little bit of paper mache, a little bit of elbow grease right there, and put it into what looks like a rock with the button to go ahead and power it on the side. You took the housing out, but all the wire and all the mechanisms on the inside are still connected. You just kind of maneuver them around this way. In the fantasy aspect, in the Renaissance area, because you probably still have people that dress up in D&D and other things, So here is a magical sending rock, just like a sending stone in D&D.
I know not every Renaissance fair likes this, but I know a couple of them do. A couple of them will allow it, although it is a cheat for Star Trek fans. Some Renaissance fairs will allow, if you dress as a Star Trek cosplayer, they will allow you to be futuristic, because multiple episodes of Star Trek do show the crew going to the Renaissance time period.
This is very true.
But that depends on the convention.
Understandable. A lot of them don't like the idea of the time travelers and want to go ahead and keep it more pure.
But a lot of the Renaissance fairs that I go to, like Midsummer Fantasy Renaissance Fair and New Hampshire Renaissance Fair, they're very, even though they are strict in some ways, everybody comes. It's like fairies. It's not just Renaissance people. It's people from all different fan groups can come together. Like Ashley was saying, you can have steampunk or Renaissance Star Trek. It is possible, and it's great. Like I like when people take their own genre and twist it
as well. Like they're not super strict. They're not that pure. It's like they don't care.
They're not thread counters.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing, you know. Like we were mentioning before, inclusivity. You know, I mean,
as long as you have the general vibe, they don't care.
Yeah, I mean, if you're obnoxious and get on a phone or something along the lines that take away from the whole vibe of the con, then, well, yeah.
Right.
You know, you don't want to do that.
The only rule, the last Renaissance fair I went to, it was very fun. It was a couple of years ago. It was very fun. The only thing I did not like was, of course, it was the middle of summer, and in Virginia, it gets so hot, and so of course it was humid. They did, however, they limited the use of cell phones and tech, but I mean, they did put their tables and like their food vendors up front. So obviously, if you were like sitting at the table or if you were eating, then nobody cared. And they even put up a sign that said, "Hey, you're allowed to be on your phone or your tablet, whatever. Here, we don't care."
Well, makes sense. Utilize an area for everyone to be able to use modern tech away from the rest of the area, so it doesn't take away, and it doesn't limit the person who's actually trying to enjoy themselves. Nice.
Good compromise.
Exactly. And that's what we need, is a good compromise sometimes, you know, instead of rules, more of a suggestion.
Absolutely.
So what are some of your favorite cosplays that you have done?
My favorite cosplays that I've done, definitely Harley Quinn. I loved when I did Harley Quinn a few years ago.
You do a great Harley Quinn.
Yeah, she knows the Harley Quinn costume that I did. It was very risque.
There's been a lot of risque lately, so I've seen quite a bit. So in my mind, I still don't see Harley too risque.
She can be very risque in the comics. I've always been a diehard DC fan, so.
Oh no, I've seen my fair share in the comics, but at the cons, even when people are trying to be risque, it's still not as bad.
This is true.
So now that Wolverine there that was at GalaxyCon, that was risque.
I saw him. Yes, I know who you're talking about. I saw him.
Did you see the other one too? The actual woman.
Yes.
Yep. That was most likely Tabitha Lyons, the gamer and the celebrity cosplay guest that they had.
I heard that. Yes. I did hear that.
Yeah, about 25% clothes and everything else just attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have some sense of attitude if you're gonna dress up.
Of
you
course.
have to have some sense of confidence.
And
even though, like for me, when I slip into like my steampunk persona is pretty much me. I don't really change that, but it's fun to slip into a different time or a different person or a different environment and explore things about yourself.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely hear that. I've had only a handful of cosplays that I've done. Trying to go ahead and do more this year especially, but each one's a different style. Like horror, I've done Ash Williams from Evil Dead.
That is one of my favorite movies, as I commented on your last video. Army of Darkness, as stupid as that movie is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes, absolutely.
Now the funny part is,
I know everyone's divided on that movie. I know that movie is like a love or hate movie. I am on the love it side.
I'm with you.
I write horror for a living, and everybody looks at me when They expect me to love like serious horror movies. Like, oh well, you probably like Dracula and Frankenstein. I do, but if you ask me what one of my favorite horror movies is, it's Army of Darkness.
Of all different movies, people are a little surprised when I say my favorite horror movie because it doesn't feel like it's a horror movie, but it is. John Carpenter's The Thing.
I love that movie.
The practical
movie is
effects
great.
are brilliant, and it still holds up to this day.
I like the end of it with the flamethrower.
Oh yes,
Anytime
doesn't?
there's a flamethrower involved, that's pretty interesting.
true. It's hard to get away with the fact of the power of fire being interesting in a movie or a setting, you know.
Mhm.
Now, aside from the steampunk, have you done other type of cosplays before?
I've done Renaissance cosplay, which is very fun, and it's very versatile. As Ashley was saying, if it's a very hot day and you're wearing layers of Renaissance wear, it can be challenging. Last summer, particularly on the East Coast where I am, it was very hot, and we were all stripping down to our lowest layers of Renaissance goodness, and
Wow.
and then other times it's been so cold that I've had to wear like a wool cape in May. So it really depends on if you're indoors or outdoors, what the season is. But Renaissance is so beautiful because there is so much creativity. And as I said before, there's fairies, there's this, there's that. I like the acts, the musical acts in Renaissance. I like the bodiness of Renaissance, the mead and the this and the that. It's just very fun, and it's festive. It's a festive feeling. And so when I dress Renaissance, I do have a long dress that's in layers, and it's tie-dye. So it's Renaissance, but it's a twist.
That's good. I like that.
Thank you.
Always
And
having a
also-
smidge of yourself, you know, in something like that, rather than just, you know, going with the normal. I really like that.
That's how I am.
See, she goes all out. I'm much more casual than her. I mean, like the hoodie that I'm wearing right now, I bought it specifically so that I could wear it every day. But there's a twist to it.
Oh, if this is the twist, I think I'm loving this.
If I can get it straight on the camera.
I can already tell what it is because I recognize that symbol.
I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, that's amazing. And if it wasn't for a particular cosplayer, and I've said it from season 1 and on, I would have never watched Has Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss.
See,
Because
I've watched it since I've been a fan of Vivzy Pop since the pilot of Has Been Hotel came out. And then when Hell of a Boss came out, I just became completely enamored with Hell of a Boss. And Blitz is one of my favorite characters. But I have to admit, this hoodie was actually somewhat practical because I did not have many hoodies. And then my birthday's in December. This hoodie ended up being like on its last chance sale. And I was like, you know what? I need a hoodie anyway. I only have 2 sweaters. So I'm going to buy myself the Blitzo hoodie.
Good for you.
What was
It's
funny
the
is
Blitz
I was actually
without
at
the
work.
O.
Huh?
It's the Blitz without the O.
Yes, the O is silent.
Yes. O is silent.
See, I didn't even know anything about it. And when I started hearing about Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss, the description I got was not inviting. It's a cartoon for adults, you know. You'll like it. That's all I got.
Actually I'm terrible with names, so forgive me. But at GalaxyCon Richmond last year, one of the guests that was there, one of the celebrity guests, not only myself but her aide, we because her aide saw my phone cover. My phone cover is Stolas.
Right, Pinkman.
Depressive but well dressed. And they saw my phone cover, and we ended up telling her and getting her into Hell of a Boss. And she was like, well, what is this? Because I keep seeing her around the con. I was like, no, watch it. It's on YouTube. Start with the pilot. Start with the pilot. We're not going to tell you anything about the show. Just look up Hell of a Boss. Go on YouTube. Type in Hell of a Boss pilot and watch it.
So I kind of did it in reverse, and I started with Has Been Hotel, because that's what everyone was talking about at first. And the cosplayer finally told me, he's like, no, you need to check it out. I mean, it's deep. It's got all sorts of different things. The storyline, it's in hell, of course, but, you know, the characters have different, and they were so descriptive with it. It's like, all right, you know what? I'll finally give it a try. So I found it, pressed play. I'm watching it. 3 minutes into it, I paused. Texted him, and it's like, okay, first things first. One, I could see you cosplaying the character, singing this as an opening, because that was amazing. You did not tell me the musical scores on here were phenomenal. And two, holy fuck. There's my one for the show. Because, you know, I did not expect Angel Dust to be like that.
Jessie into Hell of a Boss. I really did. I got her into Hell of a Boss.
She did.
And then we started having watch parties together with it.
Yes.
Every new episode that's come out, we have watched it together. And I have told her when the new episodes have come out.
It's so true. And I have a very low television watching tolerance. I don't watch a lot of media, but this I make a point of watching.
I guess when it comes down to it, who is your favorite character? I mean, we already know Blitzo right there, you know, for Ashley.
I don't know. I love Stolas the best.
I knew she was going to say Stolas.
Okay. Stolas is wonderful, you know, and this last episode, the Mastermind.
That's not the last episode.
No, that was the last one that I actually saw of the regular, because the Sinmas, apparently it wasn't actually considered an episode.
Yes, it is. It's the finale.
No, I mean, on the actual, on the list, it doesn't count it. It says it was a special.
No, it's the finale. It's the season 2 finale.
Well, someone went ahead and typed things wrong on there, but no, I saw that one too. But the Mastermind, it hit on such a level, like, wow.
I know what you're talking about. No, that just means that they haven't updated the actual Hell of a Boss list yet. That happens with every new episode. No, it's the season 2 finale. It's the official end of season 2.
Well, that one definitely was a great one too. Yeah. But the Mastermind, it just hit on that level. Like, I was in tears. I mean, she did a phenomenal job. I mean, the whole thing. But I've noticed something about it, and it's kind of funny. This is the adult R version of Steven Universe.
Yep. I will agree with that.
I mean, the artwork is very similar, but the songs and the development of how they're done in production is similar as well. The power to all the characters, and it's like, and you wonder why people want to cosplay it, you know? You literally embodied so many characters with depth that I can relate to this person. I can do this. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds like a silly and kind of loony idea, but like you said, it's in depth, and the characters do grow, and the storyline is consistent. Even though each episode is a different adventure, they are consistent, and I love that. It's like you can count on these characters to grow and progress. They're not just a one-time gag.
Definitely.
And I have to say that my favorite episode, although it's one of it's kind of like, it's not one of the funniest episodes. My favorite episode has to be Apology Tour.
That was good. That was really good. His realization of everything, of how he hurt people, how he is in life, what people believe on him. And even though she's an ex and she hates him, she's still consoling him. It's like, I don't need to go ahead and remember some of my past. But damn, you're doing such a great job with the show.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, one of my favorite running gags is in that episode with the cherubs when he's doing his apology tour, and then he gives that note to the cherubs, and he's like, "No, not you guys. No, I still hate you guys."
Definitely agree. So, do you guys have any particular plans in the near future for some upcoming cons or any adventures like that?
As of right now, I should be at a couple of cons in the near future. The plans are not finalized yet. I don't have all the info right now, unfortunately.
Well, I'm going to a steampunk festival in Attleboro, Mass at the end of the month called Jewelry City. And it's because a lot of steampunk festivals name their, starting with Watch City, which is Waltham, because we're the Watch City, because we created the Waltham watches back in the Victorian era, and they were worldwide famous. So we're the Watch City. And so then we have Jewelry City because they're famous for their history of jewelry making. And it is going to be a huge blast. It has, because of the pandemic and other issues, we haven't gotten together in person in a while, this group. And so it's going to be great to see steampunks from all over uniting again. And I'm also going, of course, to the Watch City Steampunk Festival. And this year, I am so excited. I'm finally going to the Chicago Exposition, the Chicago Steampunk Exhibition. And it's a huge steampunk event. It's 3 days. And it's going to be, I just can't wait. I know, I expect great things from it. And I'm also going to another steampunk convention in Maryland this spring called the Telltale Steampunk Convention. And they get their name from the Telltale Heart because Edgar Allan Poe, you know, Maryland. And so that's where they got, and every year to coincide with the con, we have an anthology, which I've been very lucky to be in for the past 3 years. And secret, I've been asked to it into the 4th book too. So I'm really happy. I didn't get to go last year, but this year I'm going, and it's very literary based. There are a lot of author panels. There's lots of authors, as well as, and there's games, and it's a lot of fun. It's more of like a relaxed con, but people go with their steampunk, as we're talking about, little touches or big Victorian gowns with gears all over their hats and things that move and pop out of their bodies. Or wings. It's incredible to see the communities come together. So those are my next upcoming cons and festivals before the summer rush. This summer, pretty much every weekend, I'll be doing something.
It sounds like someone is, into.
Sorry about that. That would be my dogs barking at the cats.
Okay. No worries. We've had plenty of animals on the show here as well, because can they really go ahead and tell their owners, hey, leave me alone? No, I want some me time, which is understandable. Now you end up showing
another thing about needing me time. A lot of these cons are very welcoming of a diversity of people, and that includes people who are neurodivergent in some way, or people who just need peace and quiet, because cons, as you know, can get loud and busy and exciting and colorful, but it can also be overstimulating sometimes.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of these cons have green rooms or places where you can just sit and be away from the crowd and have a little peace. And I value that so much. As much as I love the excitement and the vibrance, sometimes you do need a break. And I really appreciate when cons do that.
Definitely. I can attest to that because one of the cons I went to, it was definitely packed, and a couple of my friends, they actually had their cosplays broken, a couple of pieces, you know. But it was just the atmosphere, the attitude about some of the people that were around there. You just started, you know, almost feeling like you want to ball up, you know. And
I
they
get
had a
that
room where we
totally.
could actually just relax, you know, which
That's how
was nice.
Dragon Con felt for me. Dragon Con, I mean, I don't normally get overwhelmed with crowds, but Dragon Con, it's so huge. And just to get into everything, I mean, there's lines that take up half the day, if not longer.
Yeah, I know of one of those, sadly. At GalaxyCon, I had a particular person I wanted to meet, but I also made plans with a cosplayer saying that I was going to do an interview with them. So I got in line and figured, all right, I'm going to give it 5, maybe 7 minutes because they say he's supposed to be here at this time. He did not show. So I got out of line
I know who
and
you're talking about. Because,
Christopher Sabat.
yep, I heard a couple of people complain about them. Yep.
Well, I was only 5th in line. But my, you know, I made plans. And if I said I'm making plans, I'm going to keep it. So as soon as I left, he showed up and the entire line got about 5 times the size. And it's like, never mind, I missed out. But he is definitely one person I want to meet, you know, maybe one day. Now, you were lucky enough to go ahead and send a few pictures that I was going to make a video out of, but my program here decided to go ahead and give me a lot of trouble. So I took a different route to go ahead and showcase these. So the first one we got. Now, I have to say, I like that style.
I love it.
And then, now that hat, I like that.
That is actually from the Steampunk convention where Jesse and I met.
Okay. That's a little skull right there too, right?
In fact, that hat actually had a cemetery on the side of it. So it actually had tombstones as well.
That is awesome. And then, both of
Yay,
you together.
it's us! I love it. Oh, you got to send me this picture. I don't know if I have it anymore.
So yeah, I had to take a, you know, secondary way to be able to showcase the photos right there, which, you know, it still worked as we can see, but not the way it was originally intended. But no, those were amazing. Now, have you guys done any photo shoots for like that? Got a cosplay, had someone do a shoot, husband, friend, anything like that?
I've done a couple of photo shoots with Steampunk. I actually kind of created one day. It was just a very small photo shoot, but I was at Wash City Steampunk Festival, and a photographer in their class came to take pictures of all the interesting people. And we got the idea of why not do a steampunk actual photo shoot at a historic site in the town. So we did that. So it was a photography class, came in, did amazing portraits of about 6 of us. And it was against the old Francis Cabot Lowell Mill, which is now a museum. And it was outside and it was beautiful. And you could see the brick and you could see the history, but also you could see these steampunk costumes from all different ideas. And also my friend who does corset pattern making, I've been in photo shoots for them for their corsets, which are absolutely beautiful. I'm not wearing one of theirs right now, but I do have a collection around me right now. And
collection of corsets.
Yes.
A collection is a collection. If it makes you happy right there, there's no wrong collection.
Mm-hmm.
So were you able to do a photo shoot at all with any of your cosplays?
No. I'm normally when I go to conventions, I'm the one taking photos of other cosplayers. My husband is usually the one who takes photos of me. So I'm never actually in a photo shoot. I'm kind of camera shy, which Jessie knows, and she has lovingly berated me a couple of times about that because she's much more outgoing than I am.
Fair enough.
Like I feel like when you do cosplay or when you dress up a certain way, it gives you confidence that you might not have had before. It allows you to have that outlet, because a lot of times I can be actually very introverted, but I dress up, I feel good, it makes me feel confident. Like I can do things. I can explain myself. I have a community who backs me up. I have Ashley who always is giving me tidbits about my writing. Or we last night, as a matter of fact, we did a writing time together, which is very nice to have somebody partner with. Be like, for the next 30 minutes, we're not going to go on Facebook. We're not going to do the dishes. We're going to write. And that focus is so helpful to have from your community. And I think when you cosplay or you're part of one of these groups, you become more confident.
Definitely agree with that. For the first while that I was cosplaying, I just went by myself. And then I had a roommate who said, "Hey, we're going to the con together. You're dressing up, so maybe I should cosplay something too, but I don't have much time." And we looked in his closet, found a few things, and I was like, "If we piece this together, let me go ahead and make you a mask really quick. Here's some gloves." And he found a character from My Hero Academia, and so we went.
That's
And
so cool.
and
That
yeah, as
reminds
soon
me
as
of
you put it on, you know,
I
as soon
have
as you put it on,
this that I kind of made. I want it to be like more of a Western style steampunk. So I
okay.
had this jacket that didn't exactly fit me anymore. And I had a shirt with lace at the collar that wasn't doing it for me. So I cut the collar off, and I'm not good at sewing. I'm not one of those sewers. So I just kind of rolled the sleeves up, refixed the buttons, put the little lace on, and voila, right out of my closet, I have an accessory.
I did something similar a couple of years ago. I want to say easily like 7 years ago, and ended up makeshifting myself a Grell Sutcliffe cosplay. I found a coat that was like half a size too small, which is perfect for Grell Sutcliffe if anyone knows Black Butler, because his coat deliberately does not fit him. And that's what I went as to a party one night.
Nice. So the reason why I asked about the photo shoots is because the question I have for you both is, if you could go ahead and do a photo shoot anywhere in the world, who would you cosplay as, and where would it be? I know it's a tough one, but deep down, it seems like everyone has one that they've always thought about, even if it's not immediate.
Well, I happen to like Votes for Women with Susan B. Anthony. And so I would like to cosplay her, but make her steampunk. Like, give her some technology, give her a typewriter or something, give her a way to get her word out quicker and more efficiently and professionally to people. She needs to do more than marching around. She needs more. She needs some support. So I would love to cosplay at her, maybe at the Capitol, at the White House.
Oh,
I know, right?
yes! Wow, that would be amazing.
I love it, and I could wear my fancy thing, ribbon I showed you earlier.
That is very true.
I don't know. Probably Michael Myers. I would love to cosplay Michael Myers. I've never done a complete horror cosplay before. So if I could do Michael Myers in front of the actual house the real house from the movie, that would be fantastic.
I've heard some great ones that people have said, but that one takes the cake. I didn't even think of something like that. Oh, wow.
Like, Michael Myers is one of my favorite 80s horror villains, because he just is, and there's no logic to it. He just is. I mean, I was raised on a whole spectrum of horror. Like, my dad introduced me to Vincent Price and Alfred Hitchcock. My mom introduced me to all the 80s slasher films. Even though she'll deny it to this day that she doesn't like horror, but no, she introduced me to The Omen and Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and all the greats from the 80s. So I would have to say Michael Myers.
I like that. I would definitely love to see that one too. See, thinking outside the box, something like that. I mean, you could see the passion behind the thought behind those right there, and I love that. Now we are coming close to the end of the show.
I love all the comedy sketches that people do, especially with like Michael Myers, where they don't even take him out of character. They don't say anything. They don't do anything. It'll just be like the funny music that they put. It's like Michael Myers in the summer, him walking behind a little girl with the jump rope, and then all they do is change the music.
For all the different ones they've done like that for the parodies, I'd have to say, I want to say his name is George Lopez. I'm saying no, Juan Lopez. I can't remember it offhand right now. Dang it! He's a YouTuber, but I know Lopez is part of his name. And Michael Myers enters the house, and he's like, "Oh no! What are you doing here? No!
I know what you're talking about. I know you're talking. And the joke is like Michael Myers in a Mexican mom's house with the mom mopping the floor. It's like, what are you doing to my floor? Smack! I know the one you're talking about. Yes, I've seen that video. That video is hilarious.
And it has continuations to it as well, yes. Each time. And the last one, he thinks he's all done. Yep. But no, the last one with Michael Myers, the grandma, the mother can't do it anymore. So instead, they call the dad, and all of a sudden, this big dually truck shows up. He pulls out his belt, cowboy hat. Is like.
I love the second one where they enter Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers turns around. He's like, no. Jason Voorhees like, how dare you? You and your friend are doing this. And Michael's like, I know the video you're talking about. It's so funny. And the mom has cleaning the house. Yeah.
He is absolutely, that guy is great. I mean, that was the ones, of course, with Michael Myers, but he's done so many other little ones. And out of all his other skits, because he does the stereotypes, like him and 3 other people dressed up with the bandanas, looking like they're gang members. They roll up to this little girl, and the girl kind of turns over, and they go, "You know where this place is?" And they just start acting like kids. But of all those, my favorite one is this guy shows up and goes, "Excuse me, sir, did you know that Jesus loves you?" And he instantly looks over and goes, "Jesus, you love me?" "No, man, I hate your guts." And he throws an item at him. It's just that so random, like, no, that's not what I meant, but, okay.
Yes, I know the creator you're talking about. I've seen those videos. He is hilarious.
Definitely. Especially when he does the superpower ones.
Yeah, no, the horror movie ones tripped me up where he had all the horror characters cleaning the house.
He is definitely a staple of creativity.
And I think the title series is why horror characters never enter Mexican houses. I think
I'll be able to find it. Okay.
I think that's the name of it. I could be wrong, but I think that's the name of it.
Okay.
And it just on, and it's like it starts with Michael Myers, and then it's Michael Myers. I think they even have Freddy Krueger in the last one, but I'm not sure. It's just.
I wouldn't be surprised. By the looks of it, someone has something they wanted to go ahead and show, because I see the camera went ahead and got tilted a little bit. What do we got here?
I have a collection of easy ways to up your outfit from your closet. And just different coats. Like this came to me secondhand. Most of my steampunk clothes do come to me secondhand. And then you can trip them out with buttons or badges and patches. So this is my new acquisition that my friend gave me, and I plan on using it for steampunk. I'm going to add maybe a brooch here with some gears turning on it, things like that. And then just by changing your jacket, you get a totally different look.
Oh,
like it's amazing. And then as we were talking about people who aren't full on committed or they're just beginning, you can always get a t-shirt from one of your favorite cons and be part of the crowd.
That's true. Simplicity at its best. I like that.
Give me one moment, guys.
Okay.
And then I have this, which Ashley gave me from one of her cons she went to. And it's a steampunk skull. And her name is Ada. And she's my writing pal.
That is very cool.
Thanks.
I like that. Now, of course, we are coming close to the end of the show.
My office was being invaded by cats.
Sorry. But yeah, we are coming to the close to the end of the show, and I'm curious, what would you either of you have to say to future cosplayers, enthusiasts, steampunkists as well? You know, what kind of advice would you give to them?
My advice would be, you can find almost anything to do a costume, and you know, your first couple of times are not going to be high end, and they don't have to be expensive. So don't listen to the purists and ignore all the haters, because you're going to get haters no matter what. Whether you dress normally or whether you dress in cosplay, there's always going to be someone who's going to ridicule you. If you're having fun, that's all that matters.
Love that.
Yeah, I would encourage people to go to cons and festivals and not just enjoy the music like Frenchie and the Punk or Victor and the Bully and Steampunk Giraffe, but to feel like you're part of a community, to enjoy the art, to enjoy the literature and the history and the movie making. There are so many creative people, and if you don't think you're creative, you might surprise yourself just by being part of a con, just by going to a con. Something might catch your eye, or you'll find other fans of something like Has Been Hotel, something like these little genre subgroups of people find each other at these cons and events. And I think that's a very powerful thing about being able to go in person.
Have to agree. Talking about a con is one thing, but to actually experience the con, it's eye-opening, sometimes mind-blowing, depending on which one you go to. Definitely well said. Well, it has definitely been a pleasure having both of you on here. I mean, there was brand new insights I didn't even know about, and to get to know you both on a level like this has been wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Jerry, for having me on.
Absolutely.
And Ashley, as always, you're the best.
All right. Well, we will call this another episode. And of course, remember, if you can dream, believe, create. Have a great night, everyone.
Are you interested in cosplay, currently a cosplayer, or have an experience you wish to share? Want to be on the show? Simply text, email, or send a message on our Facebook page. I can't wait to hear from you.